Are you ready to unwind with story time? Let's begin. Asher sat on his bedroom floor, surrounded by half-packed boxes and scattered toys. His parents had told him they would be moving to a new house today, and the moving truck would come this afternoon. Everything felt so big, too scary, too much all at once. His chest felt tight, like when you hold your breath underwater for too long. His baby brother was gurgling happily in his crib, and Ash's parents were bustling about downstairs, their voices mixing with the sound of tape being pulled across cardboard boxes. But Asher felt small and lost in the middle of it all. He didn't want a new house. He wanted to stay here, where his bedroom felt familiar, where the creaky third step warned him when Dad was coming upstairs, where everything just made sense. Without really deciding to, Asher slipped out the back door. His bare toes found the cool grass, and before he knew it, he was walking towards the forest that bordered their yard. Maybe if he just stayed here in the woods, everything would go back to normal, how it was before. The forest welcomed him with its familiar whisper of leaves and the soft carpet of pine needles beneath his feet. He walked deeper than he'd ever gone before, past the places where his parents' voices could reach him. That's when he saw it. The wheel was propped against an ancient oak tree, as if it had been waiting there forever. Not a bicycle wheel. No, this didn't look quite like that. It was an old wooden wheel, the kind that might have once belonged to a cart that carried treasures or important packages, or both. The wood had been worn smooth by time, faded with countless long days in the sun. When Asher ran his fingers along its surface, he could feel gentle ripples and whirls beneath his fingertips, like a story written in a language only hands could read. He lifted it carefully. It was lighter than it looked, and warm, as if it had been sleeping in the sunshine, though the morning was still misty. The wheel made a sound, not quite a creak, not quite a song, something in between, like a whisper, the sound a secret might make if secrets had voices. The wheel quivered in his hands as he propped it up and gave it a slight push. It began to roll and spun away from him deeper into the forest, making that secret song sound louder now. Whir, whisper, whoosh. Whir, whisper, whoosh. Wait, Asher called, running after it. His sadness lifted for a moment as his feet carried him forward. The wheel rolled on, but slower now, as if making sure Asher could keep up. Each turn brought a new note to its song, a gentle creak when it rolled over twigs, a soft swish through the fallen leaves, a drumming rhythm over the exposed tree roots. The morning mist began to lift as sun arrows pierced the canopy above, creating pools of golden light on the forest floor. In one of these sun pools, a squirrel sat up on its haunches, watching the wheel roll past. To Asher's amazement, it began to chase the wheel, its tail trailing behind like a banner or flag of excitement. Soon, another squirrel joined, then another, until a whole parade of them followed the wheel's path, chattering in harmony with its wooden song. Above, birds began to notice. A robin swooped down to investigate, then a blue jay, then a whole flock of tiny chickadees, each adding their voices to the growing symphony. Goldfinch and warblers that somehow matched perfectly with the wheel's rolling rhythm. The wheel led Asher deeper into the forest than he'd ever gone before. Here the trees grew older, their trunks wider than his outstretched arms. The wheel rolled right up to another ancient oak and settled there, its song fading to a contented hum. "Hello, old friend," the oak tree seemed to whisper, though it might have been just the wind in its leaves. "I remember when you were new, spinning proud on the farmer's cart, carrying apples to the market, and children home from school." Asher sat down among the old tree's roots, which curved around him like a comfortable chair. The squirrels gathered nearby, tails twitching, while the birds perched in the branches above. The wheel leaned against the oak tree, resting for a while and warming up in the flickering sunlight that stretched through the leaves. After a while, Asher jumped to his feet and gave the wheel a push down the path again. Slowly at first, and then faster. Some of the animals followed, as it spun round and round. The forest seemed to sparkle when he noticed something rather strange. A little path that he hadn't seen before, leading to a perfect circular clearing. In the clearing, bluebells swayed joyfully in the morning light, their trumpet-shaped flowers like a crowd of tiny blue umbrellas bouncing in time to a gentle spring rain. The wheel rolled into the clearing, and Asher followed. Forest creatures emerged from every direction, deer stepping delicately between the bluebells, rabbits hopping closer in hopes to get a better view, a wise old owl who had delayed his bedtime as he heard the wheel coming. As they gathered closer around it, Asher saw them talking with one another. Although he couldn't tell what they were saying, he knew they were sharing stories, the kind of stories only forests know, about the magic that happens amongst the animals as they share their day-to-day adventures and their comings and goings in every season. As the sun climbed higher, it sent new patterns of light dancing through the leaves. Asher watched the squirrels chase each other in playful circles. He watched a mother deer nuzzle her spotted fawn, and watched the rabbits hopping around in a merry dance. Something warm and familiar stirred in his chest as he thought about the way his baby brother's tiny fingers would curl around his thumb, the way his parents' faces lit up when they all played together on the living room floor. Just then, clear and sweet, through the forest air, came the sound of his mother's whistle, their special signal that meant time to come home. The animals looked up at the sound, and Asher felt something shift inside him. The wheel gave a gentle nudge and began rolling homeward. This time, Asher walked beside it, his heart feeling different than when he stepped into the forest earlier that day. The birds accompanied them with a farewell chorus. The squirrels scattered here and there, munching on acorns, waved cheerio with their tails. And the trees bowed their branches overhead, creating a green and golden tunnel as they passed. When they reached the edge of the forest, the wheel slowed to a stop, its song softening to a whisper. The worn wood glowed in the mid-morning sun, and Asher thought he saw patterns in its grain that weren't there before, patterns that looked like maps of the forest path and the clearing filled with bluebells. He could hear his little brother babbling from inside. There were still boxes to pack for their move to the new house, but his heart felt light now. He carefully propped the wheel against a tree at the forest's edge, where it seemed to belong, waiting for the next child who might need to find their way home. As he walked back towards the garden gate, Asher felt different than he had that morning. The tight feeling in his chest had loosened, replaced by something warm and sure. He was ready now to help his family finish packing, ready to discover what adventures waited in their new house. Through the kitchen window, he could see his parents moving about. Asher smiled, thinking of all the stories he wanted to tell, about the wheel, and the squirrels who danced in circles, and the wise old owl who winked at him from above, the clearing full of bluebells, and the moment he realized that the very best adventures are ones you share with the people you love. He picked up a small box from the porch and carried it inside, where his mother swept him into a hug that smelled like blueberry pancakes. The moving truck would come soon, but Asher wasn't worried anymore. He now understood some things travel with you no matter where you go. The warmth of his mother's whistle calling him home. The way his father's eyes crinkled when he laughed. And tomorrow would bring new adventures, just like the forest had shown him paths he'd never seen before. His new home would have its own magical places and stories waiting to be discovered. Remember, every journey begins with a single turn, and yours might be just around the next corner, leading you right back to where you belong. The end.